Welcome back to Daytime Live. Now, the organizers of the Grammy Awards have scrapped their anonymous voting committees following allegations of rigging, favoritism, and racism. Now, the Recording Academy said its voting members, which run into thousands, would instead select next year's nominations and also the winners.
Now, stars such as Zayn Malik and Hasley has claimed the selection process was unfair and lacked transparency. Artists of color have long criticized the awards for a lack of diversity. And earlier this year, the Canadian singer, The Weeknd, accused the Grammy organizers of being corrupt after he was snubbed in this year's nomination, despite a single that spent a record-breaking 52 weeks in the US top 10, and I think even longer on the chart itself.
Yeah.
Now, we're going to be talking to who are we talking to today?
Joining us today to discuss this is music executive and Grammy-nominated producer, put some respect on her name, Cristy Barber. Welcome, Cristy.
Hi, how are you guys doing?
So Cristy, you have been nominated.
Congratulations, that's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm just saying, so would you like to see the process change so next time you can win?
Well, the crazy thing about it is, like we were saying, I've been in the industry for 29 years this year, and I've actually been a voting member for 18 years. And through the whole time of my career, I've been a member of the Academy. In 2003, when I was nominated for an album called Jamaica that I produced, I was actually appointed to our screening committee for the Reggae album category. And I started to do some deep diving, and I realized that we had a lot of issues within our own category. One of them was we only had one registered voter on the island of Jamaica. So I started an awareness campaign back in 2003 that I'm still doing to this day in regards to educating people and getting more voters involved in the Recording Academy process. In the beginning, I had a lot of support from the Academy. Everything was really great. We hit a couple of walls a little bit, but when we first started it, we were dealing with the snail mail situation with the voting ballots, and now it's online. But in recent years, I mean, we've even been hit by a lot of the drama that's been going on with the Academy. During the Me Too movement, Neil Partnow, the president, actually made derogatory comments about women in the music industry and was basically forced to step down. And then the sad part was he was replaced by a woman who actually ran Red for Bono, who is more than capable of running the Academy. But she was the first one to blow the whistle on all this drama. And it was going on during the Academy Awards at the beginning of 2020. And I was there, and they literally removed her. And she was a woman, and it was very sad. Now they have a gentleman in place now, but they're not even making him the president. They're calling him the interim president. So now they're trying to be very transparent. So, and I hate to, it's not just a racism thing, it's a sexism thing, but it's also, you have like a white president that got booted out by talking about women. Then you brought a white woman in who blew the horn, and they ran her out in 3 months. And now there is a African-American male heading it up, but they're not making him president, they're calling him the interim president.
Gotcha.
So that's a lot of drama right there to begin with. So now, go ahead.
Why do you think, so this Grammy news, it's big news, what is happening, who didn't win, who should have won. Why did you think that it's taken them so long to kind of get themselves together? Because this voting system seems to be like it should work in the favor of everybody. Why do you think it's taken so long for them to make this shift?
Well, there's pros and cons in this, the release that came out. If you read the Grammy statement, it's very smoke and mirrors. And even Rolling Stone did a more deep dive article on it. But if you've never been a part of the process, which is there's probably a very small few of us that are experts in knowing what I talk about. It also is very smoke and mirrors. What they basically have announced is that they're getting rid of nomination review committees. I've been talking about screening committees forever. They're not getting rid of screening committees. They're getting rid of the nominations review committee, and which never made sense to me in the first place. So that being said, what it basically is that the bulk of the fields and the categories that were there, we have like 84, now 86 categories. They actually we have 2 ballots that go out. You have the first ballot that goes out that has everybody's name that got through the screening process, which is pretty much almost everybody in categories unless it just doesn't fit in the category. And it's on the first ballot. The voting members, and mind you, there's only 13,000 Grammy voting members that are registered right now. There's only 13,000 of us. So what we do, we get the first ballot, we go in and you can choose the top 5, and then you get the second ballot that would reflect whoever voted for the most top 5, and then the winner is what you see Grammy night. What happened when the first ballot got to us voters, we would go in and choose our 5, and in these big categories, there was this secret type of committee, this nominations committee, made up of what they call industry experts that would then go through what us voters decided as the 5, but they would narrow it down to like the top 30 unanimously that we'd all voted for, and they would decide who the top 5 were, which makes no sense to me. Why would you do that? That's where you create this like a secret society vibe. Like, what are they doing? You know what I mean? So, I mean, it was hard enough for me to explain why screening committees are necessary, which they still are. So now, and then the only thing in the voting thing that's changing, which actually helps us, because a part of my problem that I've had with the reggae album category, besides getting voters, is the name recognition problem. Because we don't have people in our industry that are players in our industry voting, we're having visitors come to our category. So I always say this, for lack of a better analogy, it'd be like a white man in his 50s who's a jazz musician but loves reggae would go and vote in our category and just see a name that he knew in the 70s and tick that box.
I
he
agree.
wouldn't know who Taurus was or Atano was or anybody. He just knew, so that was the problem we're having. Now with this release that came out, another thing that they addressed was we used to be able to vote in 15 categories, now it's 10. There's different fields, and categories are made up in the field. Right. So basically what it does now, the great thing about reggae is we're our own field. So everybody can vote in the general field. The general field is like 4 awards, which is like best new artist, best album, like the top ones that you always see on TV. Yeah. So everybody can still do that, but you can only do 3 fields after that. So this will be the year that I'm watching, because we're our own field. People are going to tend to just go and vote where they vote. Like if you go into the rap field, there's like 5 categories in there. So it really limits you to only 3 fields. So it might deter these people that are not in the know, not in our industry, to stop voting in our category and leave it to the experts. So I'm hoping that happens. And then, it's just, they also brought in the 2 new awards that they announced. One of them, they both kind of affect us. World music category is now called the best global music album category. They've now announced another one, which is the best global music performance. When it's considered a performance category, that means a track. So basically that allows, now there'll be those, because it's a crazy category, because that's where the genres go that don't fit. You can actually have like Machel Montano and Burna Boy and Angelique Kidjo and the Dalai Lama competing against each other, because they all just got kind of piled into the world music category.
It don't make no sense.
It makes no sense.
I agree with that.
And then go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. We're just running out of time, and there's so much wonderful information that I wanted to give us.
Yeah.
I just want to ask you, I remember when Beyonce was nominated, she had 9 nominations and she didn't win anything. And I think Jay-Z as well was nominated 9 times, didn't win anything. How do you think these changes will actually benefit the reggae artists?
Well, here's the other thing I have to say that artists are guilty of. A lot of these artists don't vote.
Yes.
A lot of these artists don't vote. And that's why I sit on this podium and I take from Puffy Love and say, vote or die. Like, you can't complain. And the deal is, it's like, I call it like the Norah Jones syndrome. I don't know if you remember the year Norah Jones came out with her record.
Yeah, I
and she
loved it.
swept the Grammys.
Yeah.
It was because she had this foundation producer that had been around for 50 years that everybody adored, and voting members got behind it. That's why, you see, Carole King and Herbie Hancock and Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, these people take the Grammy process seriously. A lot of these younger artists, and a lot of our artists, I have to make phone calls every year to remind people to re-up their voting. Yeah. People just don't care to vote. So at the end of the day, if the people who worked on your record and you're not voting, and your musicians aren't voting, and your songwriters aren't voting, that's how other artists can get in there, because their team will vote.
Yeah,
you got to go in and vote.
Hey, Christine, it's going to be
you need to come back. There's so much more. We need
There's
another.
a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's going to be very interesting to see what changes happen for next year. Of course, you can liaise with the producer and come back at any time and let us know what's going on with more. So you know, have a happy love day. Did you your chest?
Look at you with
And
this
thank you
with
so
this name
much.
on your chest, Cristy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I walked right into that. Though,
You know
but
what
I
I
have to tell you, your walkout today was everything. That outfit is fabulous.
Thank you. See, I love her. I knew I loved you, Chris. Oh, he meant you. All right.
Thanks, Cristy. Have a good one. Daytime, I'll be right back, and we'll be having a music video.
Hey.
Who's